He had a sister who was a couple months younger, and they would get into it all the time. And I take him to the ski hill, and I just see a different kid that day, and everything changed after that.
So describe describe some of the challenges that what's your son's name?
Ryan.
Describe some of the challenges that Ryan faces.
So really faced, I would say, in the past tense. And the irony, I mean, Ryan was this really complicated little kid who just wouldn't sit still and had a lot of issues, particularly when he went to school. And the schools right away flagged him as being, his behavior as being outside the norm. And they encouraged us to push him into a therapeutic school, which was a small private school, where he would have, more individual attention and all of the things that my wife and I thought were good. What they kind of hid the ball from us a little bit, and really they shouldn't have hidden it because, or we should have seen it coming, was that they were allowed to restrain Ryan when he became dysregulated. Now that to us was described as when a kid's completely out of control or a threat to himself or others, they would put their arms around him. The way it played out, James, was that they were tackling him in the hallway, 5, 6 times a day. Every time he did something that, led to a timeout that he wouldn't ever sit for. And so he had all these issues, and eventually wound up in a 2-week stint in a mental hospital. We had a doctor that was pushing all kinds of meds on him. And, in the middle of all this, while he's this disaster of a kid and we're restraining him at home because we're advised to do that, randomly took him skiing one day at a local hill near our house. And I wasn't even a skier, and I was just desperate for things to do with him.
Right.
He had a sister who was a couple months younger, and they would get into it all the time. And I take him to the ski hill, and I just see a different kid that day, and everything changed after that. We started going skiing more often and regularly, and we started touring all around New England, finding places to ski, and then all around the country. And over a 10-year journey that eventually led to touring the world and culminating in a trip to Antarctica, where he and I did
Oh,
about.
wow.
I had a kid that was in the school who was this disaster, who wasn't allowed to go to the water fountain without, a chaperone. And here's this kid who's exploring the planet and really guiding me, because he was a much better skier than I was. And he was a better outdoorsman. He researched mountains, he memorized all the trails, and he was really responsible for my safety. And I kept going back to the town and saying, I think you're wrong. And my wife and I eventually came to be on the same page about this, that, maybe we were wrong from the start.
Right.
Misunderstood kid who got into this system. And once we were in the system, it was almost like having a criminal record. But today he's this thriving outdoorsman. He's well known on YouTube. If you look up Ryan Delina, he travels the world and he's been to some amazing places. He lives in a van. He's got a girlfriend. He's independent. He works as a rock climbing guide in Acadia National Park, which is in Maine. And he's, in a lot of ways, the most fully formed 24-year-old, that I know. I mean, he really is this, kind of independent spirit, and he's happy and he's passionate about what he does.